You're on that same team with Wayne Gretzky and a number of other great players. You guys win the Stanley Cup for the first time, but you also win the playoff MVP. Right? Like, how special is that? And when you think about the level of commitment and the mindset of knowing you're stepping onto the ice every single day, one of the greatest of all time, and another team that has great players, what allows you to elevate yourself to that point that when it's all said and done, you're not only holding the cup, right? Which is amazing, by the way. I held it recently, but you are the MVP.
A couple things. One is that we knew Wayne was going to do special things because he was just different. And we knew his career was going to be special. And he was so focused in on smashing every record in the record books. And we knew he was going to win a Stanley Cup eventually just because of who he was. And I'm sitting to myself, I want to win a Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
So how can I help? How can I support? And we're I guess all of us were so thankful that Wayne was such a great leader and brought everybody into the circle, was unselfish, treated everybody amazing, acknowledged the guys that played lesser roles, the trainers, the doctors, everybody, the whole ecosystem around a hockey team he brought into that fold. And we realized that we have an opportunity here to support him as being the greatest player to ever play the game. And this is going to give us an opportunity to win a Stanley Cup, which is a dream of ours.
Yeah.
And so we went on that journey together. And, we had some setbacks early on. We made the playoffs. We lost. We had disappointments. We were, failed at times. Ultimately, we did win the Stanley Cup in year 5. And it was the most incredible, when I look back on it, it was the most incredible 5 years to ascend to that height and the lessons learned, the disappointments, the setbacks, always fighting back. And I was a guy that I was never thinking about the MVP. I didn't care about the MVP. I was just trying to figure out how to, play my role on the team. I had by that time, 5 years into our career, I was playing behind Wayne in this number 2 center ice position.
Yep.
I was a much more physical player than Wayne, so we complemented each other perfectly. We could set the table for him in some tough arenas, physically, and kind of get the game where he could really take over offensively. So our styles match perfectly. But to your point, it never once in those 5 years did I think about, I want to win the Conn Smythe, which is the most valuable player.
Yep.
It happened organically. It happened naturally. And for me, it was always team first. And I wrote the book, No One Wins Alone.
Yeah.
You can't win alone.
You can't win alone.
You can't win alone. I don't care if you play an individual sport or whatever it is. You need people around you to help you in every way, shape, or form. And that's a mentality I grew up with my dad. My dad was a tough right-handed defenseman who fought for his teammates. He was a fighter. He was a tough, rugged defenseman. And, I always tell the guys that, and he always fought for his teammates. In one game, they got into a tough situation, and 3 guys got him in the corner, and they got him pretty good, and none of his teammates helped him. And so he got kicked out of the game. And so he was waiting for everybody for the game to end, and the first guy that came through the dressing room door, he
punched him in the face.
And the next guy grabbed him and cold-cocked the next guy, and he goes, if you sons of bitches aren't going to fight on the ice with me, you're going to fight in the dressing room. So the mentality so I grew up with the mentality that we're all for the team. We sacrifice everything for the team. And the team is the most important part. It trumps every individual aspect of it.
Yeah.
And that's the mentality that we took, even with Wayne. And Wayne had the same exact mentality. So collectively, this magic happened in Edmonton, and we're still, considered the greatest team. The 1985 team, I believe, was still voted the greatest team in the last 100 years. So, and you can't. Individuals don't make great teams.
In fighting, there's a saying, and this is, to me, it's kind of crazy. I believe that we got this from Ric Flair. One, to be the man, you got to beat the man. In fighting, first off, you don't have to beat the man. The Stanley Cup champion the year prior does not need to be sitting for you to become the champion. And in order to be considered the man, you got to defend the belt. You got to defend it.
Yeah,
you guys won 4.
Yeah.
You set some high expectations early in your career, and then you win 4. Was there ever a time in that run where you're like, man, this is crazy. And as people go in and come out, what is your obligation for you to now take a bigger stance as a leader? Right? Come with me. Come with Wayne as we go on this journey to trying to become some of the best teams that have ever skated the ice.
Well, I think what you're talking about is culture.
Yep.
Creating a culture that's conducive to winning. And what is the expectations of you when you come to our team? Because we have a 25% turnover each and every year in hockey, somewhere around there where, 5 or 6 guys from the year before will move. We'll have to bring in 5 or 6 guys, not necessarily key component nucleus guys, but the depth players. And so bringing those guys into the fold each and every year, you have to teach to the culture. And, when Wayne was there, we won 4 Stanley Cups in 5 years. And we won 2, lost, and then won 2 more, and then he was traded to Los Angeles. And when Wayne got traded, I became captain, and now we're trying to figure out, and everybody's saying, you guys aren't anything without Gretzky. And sure enough, Daniel, who do we play the first year after him getting traded?
You played him.
L.A.
Yeah.
And I always say that, you got to take your ego out as being a leader, and, you got to bring everybody into the fold. And I know these lessons, and I've worked hard on all this, and I know, and sure enough, we play them. And I got so focused in on making sure that we won that series to show that we could win without Gretzky. I forgot all the fundamentals of leadership. And sure enough, we got up 3-1 in that series, ended up losing it in 7 games. And, I was trying to play 30 minutes. I was trying to do everybody's job. I was trying to do the Zamboni in between periods. I was out selling popcorn. Well, you know what I mean? I was trying to do everything to make sure that we win, but I didn't include the teammates. I lost the team because I was trying to do it all myself. The most fundamental thing you can do as a leader is you got to have to include the people around you.
Bring them with you.
That was a tough summer, but ultimately we came back and won the 5th Cup in 7 years. And everybody would always ask me, like, is this very validating and gratifying for you guys to be able to win without Wayne? I go, no, it didn't have anything. We would have rather had Wayne with us.
That's surprising because so many greats like Shaq. Could you have won without Kobe? And Shaq famously said, I love Kobe, but I would have won with Penny, right? I would have imagined that in a team sport, because we don't have that, right? When I'm in that octagon, it's me.
Yeah.
I've got to win that fight. Granted, we bring a team of guys with us to the cage, our coaches, and they're our army on that night, and all of our teammates are with us. But in that octagon, it's one person.
Right.
Whereas you've got to bring that team with you. I would have imagined that when you have a bit of an umbrella in Wayne Gretzky, right, he shades you. But when you step into the light, it's like now, Mark Messier, you're the guy.
Yeah.
Winning without him, I would have thought that would have been like a little bit of a validation to you also, because it's hard when you have a great like that on your team, because they always generally will get the credit that they rightfully deserve.
The stage is always big enough for everybody when you win.
Yeah.
I never looked at it as shading. I never looked at it because of how he interacted with us as a teammate. And everybody else can have their opinion of what's happening and
but you know what's going on in the room.
We know what's going on
in the building.
We know what's going on in the room. You know what I mean? And unless you're in the dressing room and seeing that and feeling that, everybody can say what they want. And it's okay to have an opinion. And so when he did get traded, and then we did go on and win, it wasn't about validating that we could win without him. It was a testimony to the grit and determination of the guys that were still there. And the culture worked again. And we were able to bring new young players into that to play to the culture. That was the most important thing of that lesson, in my opinion. Not validating that we're great players and we can win without Wayne, but validating the culture that we had created was able to sustain a loss like Wayne Gretzky and continue to go on and win. And that's a testimony to the great players that I sat beside.